morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. Now today we are going to look at the toughest line to grind. Yes, this was a Patreon requested video. If you want to request your own video, become a Patreon. You can request videos, you can become a member on my stream. I will stream with you, and of course you get early release content as well. So we're going to look at what I believe is the toughest line in the toughest line to grind. I'll spit it out. And I think that's the grill line. I honestly think this grill line, because of these three tanks in particular at these tiers, it makes it a very difficult line to grind. Now, we're not just talking about like 70% players, 60% players. We're talking about just the average player and how difficult this line would be to grind for an average player. Now, these tanks that we are looking at, we're going to start off with the National, the tier 6. It's hard to play. It is very, very hard to play. You look at other tier 6s out there, and this tank really is a difficult tank to play. Albeit the gun is very good. The DPM is very good. The gun depression is pretty good. It just doesn't have much armor at all. It's got no turret. But it is quite a quick tank. But for someone that doesn't really know too much how to play this tank, it will be a complete struggle to play the tier 6. And I mean, I haven't played this tank for such a long time. This is literally the first battle I've had in probably a couple of years with the National. It's never been a tank where I think, you know, tier 6, I'm going to go and play this tank. And actually I was pleasantly surprised on just how good this tank is. But yeah, of course it is a very difficult tank to play. Now this VK, which is a medium tank, is going to learn just how good this National is. Like, he doesn't quite realize how good this DPM is. Now, he could have killed me if he was just shooting me with HE. Anyone can pen you with HE, and that's why these tanks are just made so difficult to play, because literally doesn't matter what tank you're in, doesn't matter how good of a player you are, these tanks are just HEable, and it will hurt you. It will really hurt you. You don't want to be losing to a 38% or 40% player, but in these tanks it is very hard to carry. Now, if you're driving a heavy tank with armor, of course, a bad player probably won't be able to penetrate you, and they'll struggle. And you can make a few mistakes. Where these tanks, you really can't make them mistakes, because you're just going to get absolutely punished. Now, the National is decent. The Stirrer Emil is actually a very good tank, but the only thing about the tank, it's got no backup option. And what I mean by that, the Top Gun only has AP and it has HE, so it's got no APCR or no premium rounds, so you have to you just have to make do with what you've got. And I think, yes, even though the penetration is still pretty good, the HE pen I don't think is amazing, and considering it's only got AP and HE, I feel that it could have more HE pen. It would be nice, or if they could maybe make it a bit quicker. But yeah, this tank really does struggle. It has got a nice gun. The gun is nice, but I just think this tank, in the average hand, it will really struggle, really struggle. People will struggle to use this tank. Now, I've had a few games in the tank, because I'm pretty much making a review of the tank in a separate video. But yeah, I can't imagine sort of the average player just performing really well in this tank. They will struggle, and it's going to hurt them. Now, the best thing with this tank is, rather than the tier 8 and the tier 6, it does have a little bit of frontal armor. So the lower tier tanks, or the medium tanks, they won't really be able to shoot HE at you unless they are coming in from the side or the rear. But yeah, it's a very difficult tank to play. It really is. It's not the quickest of tanks. As I've said, it does, however, have a lovely gun that can cause problems for the enemy team. The HE is okay, but it could be better. But yeah, I can see this tank really being a struggle, especially with all the tier 7s out there, all the fast tier 7s, all the fast tier 8s, and even the fast tier, the light tanks in tier 6. You really will struggle. You've got no armor. I mean, we have bounce 445, which is amazing. Bouncing anything in this tank is, or all of these tanks in the whole line, to be honest, is something, and it is nice to get the odd bounce in these tanks when they shoot the tracks or something like that. But so with this tank, obviously, of course, you need to bear in mind, you can't just go with full guns blazing. They are campy tanks, and the whole line is, they are all campy tanks. When you get up the line, sort of to tier 8, which we're gonna see, it does get a little bit better because they start getting the speed. But before that, there is no speed, and they are struggle. It's a struggle to play these tanks. Now the Borsig, I absolutely hate this tank. I really do. It's got no gun depression. The speed's all right. The gun isn't great. I mean, it's not bad. It's got fantastic heat pen. But yeah, I just really struggle in this because you're coming up against the big boys now. You're coming up against the big tier 8s, the big tier 9s, and you've literally got zero armor, whereas the Waffle in tier 9 gets better. It's an amazing tank, and at least it can stop being HE'd from the front, just sort of the turret, and that was the same for the Stirrer and Mill as well. But this tank, literally everyone is going to focus you, everyone's going to try and shoot HE at you, and you've only got 1166 hit points, and they will absolutely vanish. A Smasher can one-shot you. Anything big like a Smasher, ISU 152, anything like that can basically one-shot you. They can do like 1200 damage. So full hit points to gone. And that's without being set on fire or anything like that. Now, some people, the tanks are pretty good, and I just don't enjoy the tank, and that's what I'm not saying it's a really bad tank. I just don't enjoy playing this tank because it is a very difficult tank to play, and for the average player that is a sort of 40%, 50% player, then I can see why this is an extremely difficult tank to play. Now, I was gonna say it was either this tank or it was either this line or it was the Leopard 1 line. But I think the Leopard 1 line is a lot easier to play because it's got the mobility, and yes, it don't have the armor in the lines. I mean, the Indian Panzer is not bad. It's not bad. It's got speed, it's got a little bit of armor, and it's got DPM. So I think this is why I went for the grill line, because I mean, look, this is the SP1C. We're just getting absolutely bullied by this guy. We do manage to take him out, but we got absolutely bullied by him, and we've lost all of our hit points, and there's not really too much you can do. Of course, you can run the Spore Liner, so they are doing less HE damage, but overall it is a difficult tank to play. And I think because of these three tanks, it does make it the toughest line, the hardest line in the game to grind, and I'm sticking with that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think is the toughest line? Now we're going to have a quick look at the lines. We're going to start off with the American line. I mean, the E4 line, you've got the Hellcat is pretty good. The T25-2 is pretty good. Yeah, the T28 prototype's not the best, but the T30 is pretty good. And also the same with the E3 line. Yes, the T95 and the T28 are tough tanks, but at least they've got armor. The T25 AT is a brilliant tank. The Wolverine, the Jackson, they are all fantastic tanks. The E5 line, fantastic line. The Yo line, fantastic. The Patton line is even not too bad. The Easy 8 there, the M4 Sherman, the T20 is not bad. Not the best, but it's not bad. The Persian now is pretty good. And the two Pattons are not bad either. And the same with the T57 line. Yeah, again, it's not the best line to grind going up, but it's not the worst. And of course, the Sheridan line is, they've got no armor, but they do have DPM. So none of them is a really struggle to grind. None of them. We go over to the German line, which we've just spoken about. The Grill line is definitely the toughest. You've got the Jaegeru line, the Stug, the Jagdpanther 4, the J Panther. These are all brilliant tanks. The J Panther 2 can be good. The Jag Tiger, the highest DPM tank in the game. These are all pretty good. Not the best line to grind straight away, but they're good. The VK72 and the Mouse line, these are easy lines to grind. I mean, the VK30, the Tiger P, the VK100, the Mushin, etc. These are not that difficult tanks to play. The VK4502, the Tier 8, yeah, okay, that's a struggle. But that's literally the only tank in that line that is a struggle. And then again, we go down to the E100, probably at the moment one of the best lines to grind. E50M, again, you've got the VK30, good DPM, the Panther 2, good DPMs, good line to grind. We've already spoken about the Leopard 1 line. We move over to the Russian line. Again, all of these Russian lines are actually good lines to grind. Probably the 263 might be on sort of the second or the third toughest lines to grind, because the SU-100 is all right. The SU-100 M1 is a fantastic tank, but it struggles with the gun depression. You've got the lightweights, the Object 140 line, the T62 line, very good medium line to grind, and of course the two heavy lines, again, one of the best lines to grind. So I think you get my point. You've got the Death Star, obviously, with all the ATs. Yeah, they're a struggle, but they can bounce, they've got DPM, and they are very, very strong tanks. So yeah, that is why I have chosen the Grill line, because it is a struggle. You can't really, there's no room for error in the Grill line. If you make an error, you're going to pay the price. So this is why I have gone for the Grill line to be one of the, if not the toughest line to grind in Blitz. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and that's absolutely fine. If you disagree, that's fine. Let me know what your toughest line in the game was to grind. So thank you for all my patrons, and thank you for recommending me to make this video as usual. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye bye. With